The Galactic Assembly was a grand meeting place where representatives of countless species gathered to discuss the future of the galaxy. For centuries, this place had decided the fate of planets, star systems, and even entire civilizations. The species who sat around the table were ancient, wise, and incredibly powerful. Some had mastered technologies far beyond anything humanity could imagine. Others had spent millennia perfecting their societies and cultures. It was a place of order, where the balance of the galaxy was carefully maintained. But today something was different. Today the subject at hand was humanity. The Council had heard rumors of humanity's growing influence in the galaxy, but most had written them off as nothing more than a short-lived, reckless species. A young race with too much confidence and too little experience, some said. Others thought humans were just a nuisance, reckless adventurers who would burn out before they could pose a serious threat. However, as humanity began to expand into neighboring star systems, it started to catch the attention of the more established races. There were whispers of humanity's dangerous potential, of their habit of expanding too fast, of their military victories against stronger, more advanced species. Still, no one took the idea of a human threat seriously. That was until today. The assembly hall was filled with representatives of different species, all seated in their respective positions. The Voth delegate, a towering figure with skin like polished marble and eyes that glowed with ancient wisdom, was the first to speak. "This is madness," the Voth delegate said, his deep voice resonating across the room. "Banning humans? A species so young, so chaotic, it's not possible. They are a spark in the dark, nothing more." Around him, the other delegates nodded. The Yeerk, a nomadic species of warriors known for their battle prowess, exchanged amused glances. To them, humanity was no more than a curious but weak presence in the galaxy, hardly worth their attention. The Tanar, a technologically advanced insectoid species, buzzed with their own dismissive comments. They had been victims of a few human raids on their borders, but even they didn't consider humans a real threat. "Let us not waste time on this," said the Tanar representative, his voice sharp and cold. "We have bigger issues to address. A species with such short lifespans cannot be of any consequence. We've seen it before with others. Young species burning bright for a while, then fading into the darkness." At the far end of the room, a representative from the Ikari, a species of telepathic beings who had long ago abandoned physical forms, spoke up. "Perhaps we are missing something," the Ikari delegate said, his voice smooth and hypnotic. "Humans have a strange power to adapt. It is true they have made enemies, but perhaps it is not their technology that is dangerous. It is their determination." But even the Ikari delegate's caution was met with laughter. The idea of banning humans was laughed off by nearly every species present. "They have no place here," the Voth delegate continued. "They are too unpredictable, too dangerous. The galaxy is a peaceful place. We must protect the order we've built." As the debate continued, it became clear that most of the council members were united in their dismissal of the human threat. The notion of banning humans was considered laughable. It was then that the screen at the center of the room flickered to life. The video that played was not new. It had been recorded only a few weeks ago. It showed a distant moon, one that had been claimed by the humans as part of their expanding territories. The moon was barren, rocky, and devoid of any significant life. The human colony there was small, barely a dot on the galactic map. But it was important for another reason. It had been attacked by a much larger, more powerful fleet of alien ships. The fleet came from a race known as the Zilarians, an ancient, powerful species that had dominated the galaxy for thousands of years. Their ships were enormous, their weapons destructive, and their technology far superior to anything humanity had. The Zilarians had invaded the moon system with one purpose: to wipe out the humans who had settled there and claim the resources for themselves. The Zilarians believed that no species should challenge their authority, and they viewed humanity's expansion as a direct threat. As the video played, the council watched in stunned silence. The footage began with a wide shot of the Zilarian fleet arriving in the moon's orbit. The humans had no chance against the overwhelming force. The video showed the human forces scrambling to defend their colony, their ships outnumbered and outgunned. For a moment, the council thought it was simply a video of another doomed battle, a story they had heard too many times before. But as the footage continued, something unexpected happened. The humans fought back. They did not retreat. They did not surrender. They fought with a determination that no one had expected. The camera zoomed in on the human ships. A small fleet, a mere handful of ships, was taking on a fleet that dwarfed them in both size and power. But the humans had something the Zalarians didn't: an unpredictable nature, a refusal to back down. One human ship, heavily damaged in the initial exchange of fire, used its limited resources to launch a desperate counterattack. The ship fired a barrage of weapons, drawing the Zalarians into a narrow formation. The Zalarian ships, confident in their superiority, did not see the trap until it was too late. An explosion ripped through the Zalarian fleet as one of their massive ships was destroyed in a chain reaction. The video showed a human fighter pilot who had somehow managed to survive the chaos, flying a damaged craft into the heart of a larger Zalarian warship. With a final suicidal strike, the pilot sent the ship into a spiral, causing a massive explosion that tore through the Zalarian fleet, destroying several of their ships in the process. The video ended. The silence. For several long moments, no one in the council chamber spoke. The video had left the entire room in stunned silence. The council members, who had so easily dismissed the idea of banning humans, were now staring at each other, uncertain of what to say. The Voth delegate, once so confident in his dismissal of humanity, was the first to speak. His voice, usually so commanding, now trembled slightly. That was not a normal battle," he said, his eyes wide with disbelief. "How did they do that? How could they have turned the tide like that?" Across the room, the Tanar representative's antennae twitched nervously. They should have been destroyed. They were outnumbered, outgunned. How did they survive? The Akari delegate, who had been quiet until now, finally spoke. "They didn't just survive," he said, his voice low and careful. "They won, and in doing so they showed us something we didn't expect. They showed us what humans are capable of. Their drive, their ability to adapt, to fight. It's something that none of us considered." The Tanar representative's cold eyes flickered. "This changes things." One by one, the council members began to speak, but the tone had shifted. What was once a dismissive, almost mocking conversation had now turned into something entirely different, a serious discussion of the threat humanity posed. The idea of banning them now seemed foolish. After all, what good would a ban do against a species with the determination to fight, to push back against the odds no matter how great? The council was left with one question on their minds. Was humanity simply reckless, or was there something deeper, something dangerous within them that they had never anticipated? The video had proven one thing: humanity was not to be underestimated.